What's up, fight fans? This is Campbell with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Cool Hand Luke. Luke Campbell had this to say about the scorecards in his fight with Ryan Garcia in Dallas, Texas. Campbell is disgusted with the scorecards in the Garcia bout. He said, "Bloody hell, it was probably a lose-lose for me anyway." Okay? Now, Luke thought that he would hang his hat on the effort he put up against Ryan Garcia in their lightweight fight last Saturday night in Dallas, which ended with Campbell suffering a seventh round body punch, which took him down and he didn't get back up. Okay. He said this quote, he said to me to win, I would have had to knock him out to win. The 33-year-old said, he said, I thought it would be more fair on the scorecards. The scorecards, what I got told, were stupid because for me, it was a very competitive fight. Nothing much in the fight between us both by that point. But what some of the scorecards I was reading were so biased. Okay. He said the judges all had the 22-year-old Mexican-American ahead until the seventh round and the final round. Ray Danseco had it 58-56, while Mark Lyson and Glenn Philman had it 58-55, all for Garcia. Nelson and Philman gave all the rounds to Garcia, except for the second round, the round in which Campbell scored a knockdown, with an overhand left. Meanwhile, Danseco gave Campbell the fourth round in addition to the second round. For some reason, Danseco only gave Campbell a 10-9 advantage for round two, the round in which Campbell scored the knockdown. Wow. Campbell also goes to say, before I counterpunch, he says, now I'm thinking, bloody hell, it was probably a lose-lose for me anyhow, because if I had beaten him, which I would have never gotten a points decision anyhow, not with that scorecard, I would have had to knock him out to beat him, Campbell said. And, he said I wouldn't have got the credit that I deserved. I would have just beat an Instagram boxer, in winning. I would have lost anyway. I don't think there was a win-win in that for me whatsoever. Now, let me counterpunch. Reviewing the scorecards with Ray Danseco, Mark Lyson, and Glenn Philman. Okay. He's absolutely right. I mean, let's look at those scorecards. I read them yesterday, and I was going to do a video, then I was like, well, he got knocked out anyway. But you know what? Since Luke is bringing it up, now I'm going to counterpunch. I'm going to bring it up too, because these things that go on in the sport of boxing can't go without being said. Can't go unsaid, okay? And Luke Campbell, at least if he's going to take up for himself, I'm going to agree with him, because that's the same thing I thought with Luke Campbell. He was going to have to knock out Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia was the guy that was proposed to fight the other undefeated champions at that weight class, which is Devin Haney, Tank Davis, okay? Those cats, he was in line to fight one of those guys, all right? So, Teofimo Lopez also, you know what I mean? He's in there. So Luke Campbell was just a tough opponent. And I think these scorecards were very biased because, okay, 58-55, that means if you watch that fight, because it's a difference between watching it with the crowd and watching it silent. Of course, I did a live stream, so everything was silent. So I seen the fight as it was. I seen Ryan Garcia trying to penetrate the defense of Luke Campbell and really came up short a lot of times, except really for the fourth round. Okay? He hurt him in the fourth round when he caught him with a hook, because Campbell's habit is when he turns to spin out to elude, he drops his hands, I guess, to see. And then when that happens, Ryan caught him with the left hook, and that's when he turned his back, okay? Which that was stupid of him, okay? So I got to keep saying that. But nonetheless, fourth round belonged to Garcia for me, because that was really the pivotal moment in that fight. And here's the deal. Danseco gave Campbell the 4th round. So it's like, well, what the fuck did you see in the 4th round to give it to Campbell? See, to me, I think Danseco was just trying to give Campbell another round just for the sake of giving him a round so he wouldn't look like all the other scorecards. That's what I believe. You know, and then you had the other two. If you look at those, they're both 58-55. So that's shit. He didn't win. That means you gave Ryan Garcia every other round plus the point in the 7th. You gave him every other round and you didn't give Campbell anything else. That's crazy. So the only thing they gave him was the 2nd round. Like he just got a lucky punch. Like he didn't land any other punches in that fight. Like he wasn't popping Garcia when Garcia was trying to throw those flurries like an old school Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy, used to do. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's a big difference watching that fight when you have the crowd cheering because everything a fighter throws is cheered and adored and you get a response to. That's a difference where you turn it down and you see what these fighters do blow for blow, frame by frame. Okay, and that's what you have. So is Luke out of line for saying this? Hell no, he ain't, because I agree with him. Look at what we have. We have a Golden Boy card. Like, it ain't like you ain't seen this shit before. Think about it. When Canelo was with Golden Boy, Triple G, Canelo 1. Triple G, Canelo 2. Canelo Lara. Right? Think about that. Canelo Mayweather. All these were Golden Boy cards. Ryan Garcia is a Golden Boy fighter. So, no, it's no big secret. Oscar De La Hoya, he has pull. And especially in a place like Dallas, when I saw Lawrence Cole, that referee, I was like, cringe. Why? Because Lawrence Cole is a terrible referee to me. He's the same guy that refereed Lomachenko-Salido. And see, honestly, Salido should have had at least 2 points deducted. But it wasn't nothing that he called. That means this dude did all this Miguel Cotto, Felix Trinidad low blowing that he did, and you didn't call a damn thing. So not only Lomachenko had to fight, which is not an American fighter, mind you. Not only he had to fight the fighter, he had to fight the fouls too. So he had to worry about going downstairs. Salido leading in with his head and shit, throwing uppercuts to the ball sack. That's the clinical term, right? So yeah, Luke, yeah, he would have had to knock out Ryan Garcia. Because again, this is another example of how scorecards don't fucking add up according to how that fight went. You know, so yeah, I do agree with him. Now you might say, well, you know, a lot of judges, they don't know how to differentiate the difference between effective aggressiveness and ineffective aggressiveness. They just see a person throwing punches, they think, oh, they're landing, but that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? That's not always the case. And CompuBox is off too. It is off. You know what I'm saying? Like you see somebody throw. I've looked at a punch and seen seeing the CompuBox, and I've seen that shit doesn't make sense because I've seen punches that land and they weren't even counted. So I know that shit's off. You know, this is the sport that I love, that I hate so much because of this type of shit. Yes, Luke Campbell got knocked out anyway. Ryan Garcia took it in his own hands. He did. But other than that, or besides him, if he wouldn't have done that, that fight would have been doomed from the get-go. Absolutely, positively. That would have been he would have been doomed. And it would have been another fight. Everybody would be like, what the fuck was this? Because they had him winning every other round. Right? Counterpunch. They had this man living. And look, this is another thing I want to address. Danseco had it not 10-9. That's almost like a flash knockdown. That was no flash knockdown. That is not a flash knockdown. You know, and it's bad because if he gave it 10-9, that's almost like this. That's like 10-9 round is like a fighter winning all of the round except he gets dropped. And that didn't reflect that. Are you out of your fucking mind? That did not reflect A 10-9 decision. So Danseco gave that man the bare minimum for a knockdown. That, yes, the scorecards were bullshit. They were biased. And they were meant for Ryan Garcia to win anyway. This fight, look, luckily Garcia has heavy, quick, fast, hard-hitting punches. And you're lucky he fainted downstairs and saved the reputation of Golden Boy, because if that shit would have went 12 rounds and would have went the way it went, and then the fighters would have fought the way they fought based on what we saw, we would have been looking at a robbery. We'd have been looking at a guy that got dropped, a guy that won maybe 5 of those rounds besides the rounds that he won from a knockdown, and we would have had either a draw, but that shit would have been unanimous. Counterpunch. So no, Luke should be disgusted about the scorecards. You know, he should be. But I think next time in the future, he should really pay close attention on where these fucking fights are taking place. It happened to Fury too. It happened to Lennox Lewis too. Okay, so don't get it twisted. There is corruption in boxing. Ask Lennox Lewis. Ask Tyson Fury. They'll tell you. Right? You gotta go over there and knock somebody out if you want that clout. Okay? If you want that win. If you want the justice of a victory, you have to knock a person out. But Ryan Garcia did exactly that to him. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Luke Campbell's comments towards the scorecards. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.